Hi everyone, my name is Ellen.
And my name is Alyssa.
And welcome to another episode of 2024 Our Story. Today we're super excited to be having two special guests on our show, or I guess podcast, whatever you like to call it, Izzy and Susan. And we'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves. So Susan, would you like to go first?
Yes, hi guys. My name is Susan Park. I'm a freshman at Scripps. My intended major is organismal biology, hopefully going on the pre-med or pre-vet track, and it's nice to be here today.
We're so happy to have you too. Izzy, would you also like to introduce yourself?
I'm Izzy. I'm also first year at Scripps. I'm from San Diego, California, and I hope to major in neuroscience and gender studies, and maybe pre-med, maybe public health. Who knows? But yeah, that's me.
Yay! Thank you guys so much. And we're so excited to have you here.
Today, we're going to be talking about PERMs, which everyone has to go through. And as a first year, that can be kind of nerve-wracking a little bit, trying to figure out what you're going to write, what classes you want to PERM, and just the entire situation, especially since we're online. So I'm sure that we all had slightly different experiences with how we were PERMing for classes. How was the experience for you guys? Was it scary? Was it easy?
I have a question first. I'd like to know what the first class you guys permed for was, if you know.
The first class that I permed for was Chem 14, and mine was an exception because it was section 1, and that's Professor Mary Hatcher Skier's class, and it's a special chemistry section class because there's another problem solving day. So it's Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And it's just for students who just needed additional support with chemistry and math. Um, so yeah, I permed for the class and emailed her, and she let me in right away, which was super nice.
I also permed for that class, but I had a little different experience. I didn't know that Section 1 was a thing, and then I got an email and it was saying that if you needed extra support or you feel like your high school education wasn't enough, you can join section 1. And this was like the day before classes started, and I just emailed her and she let me in, and that was very nice. But some of my other perms didn't work out like that, so
Oh no. That's very not nerve-wracking for that one. That's really nice. What were your other ones that didn't work?
First semester, that was the only thing I permed for. I honestly didn't understand at all first semester, and I think I just got lucky that all of the classes I um, wanted to go to had space and my registration time was early. For second semester, I had a really late registration time. I think it was like the last slot, and um, the only I had my perm accepted for a bio class that I really wanted, and I emailed the professor like why I wanted it, and mostly because his research was like stuff I was interested in. But then for like core classes, I didn't get to choose. It was very annoying, and I permed for a class called Subversive Selves, and my perm was accepted, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the class is full." So I had all this false hope that I was going to be able to take that class, and then she's like, "Oh, never mind." So
She accepted your perm and then didn't let you in?
I don't think she realized that there was like a cap. It was like max 17 people, and I was like the 18th, and so I couldn't join it.
That sucks. I'm sorry, Izzy.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I think
Perms, man.
yeah. I think that perming for core 2 for the spring semester was one of the hardest times to try to perm for a class because I also had like a really late perm time. I'm pretty sure I talked to you about that, Izzy, when it was happening. But I think I got an email from our professor who just said like, I wish I could help you, but we just like the professors can't choose this time or something, or for core 2 they can't choose who they let in, like there's a certain amount. So yeah, that was a little disappointing, but it's okay, it ended up all right.
I got lucky with core 2. I didn't have to perm for that class. When did your guys' advisors tell you what a perm was?
They didn't.
They didn't?
No, I literally didn't understand at all. And we met like once. Um, no shame to my advisor. It was just like my advisor kept changing over and over on the portal, and it was very confusing. So
So I think actually my academic advisor, he was super helpful. Professor Robbins, he would send us a lot of resources like for your schedule planning, and he would tell us when to book an appointment with him. So I did meet with him a couple of times, and um, at that time I had no idea what a perm was, and for me, I was super like lost because for registration, I sort of didn't really look at the schedule and what classes and times I really wanted. I sort of just had like a like general idea of that I wanted to take core, math, but I didn't know the professor times. So then he told me about the perms and I was like, what is a perm, right? But I sort of, and he told me, but I sort of found out about that maybe like less than a week before my registration time. So then on registration day, besides the Chem 14 section perm that I told you guys about, um, I tried perming in for psychology, but I didn't know that psychology was a super popular class among like the whole 5Cs. So I remember I saw like 50 perm requests for like mostly all sections. So what I had to do was I just on my registration day, because none of my perm requests were accepted, I ended up signing up for the Scripps psychology class because it just allows you to register right away because you're a Scripps student. But other than psychology, everything else I got in mostly because they were also Scripps only student classes. So that worked out for me though in the end.
Yeah, Susan and I share the same academic advisor. And I had this a similar experience, although I think I met with him earlier than you did, Susan, because he walked me through PERMing, I think a week before we signed up for classes. So that was nice. But yeah, it's PERMing is so weird. It's such a 5C thing that like no other schools are do. How would you? Okay, we should probably talk about what PERMing is, just in case people
yeah.
are confused. If you're listening to this, you probably know what it is, but we'll go over it for you. Alyssa, do you want to give a definition?
Okay, I'll try my best. But basically, a perm is kind of like a permission request if you like want to go into a class. Usually, it's either to like secure your spot, like you really, really want that class and you're kind of trying to like secure a spot, or it's when it's like already full and you want to like ask the professor if you can join it. I think also for the 5Cs, if you are a student from a different college, there are specific like classes where if you're not a student from that school's school, then they will let in their students first before they let in students from a different college. So that's another reason to perm. And I think they have like, it's a pretty short amount of space that you have, like only so many characters. I think it's like 250 something, if I remember. I don't remember, but it's only a couple of characters, and you just basically write why you want to join the class, and then yeah. Oh, and when you get rejected for like a perm, they don't really reject you. Like they don't really tell you. You just don't really get any response. So it's like you either get accepted or you never hear about it again.
Yeah, I think the trying to think. I think some other upper level classes also require you to perm if you're like a lower classman and you're interested. I think that was I think my first perm request was for an upper level class last semester. But yeah, okay. Okay. How did you decide what classes you wanted to take so that you could perm for classes?
First semester, I was honestly pretty lost. I I remember like hearing everyone like saying that they needed to get the GEs out of the way, and I was like, oh God, like, and I thought that meant I had to take like all of the classes that are like a GE requirement, um, like first year, and I was like, wow, I'm not gonna be able to like do anything I want this first year. But then I looked at it and it was like it just needs to be completed within like the 4 years. Most of them, at least. Some of them are like sequential, so like you have to take one before the other, but most of them are fine. And so I would remember looking at the catalog, and then because I'm part of the pre-health thing, I was able to meet with the like pre-health advisor. She's really great, and we talked about like a plan. And then I looked. The Scripps website was really good for looking at what classes are required for each major and minor, and so I looked at that, and um, it was a lot of asking around. There's like a Facebook group where you can ask questions, and that has been like a savior, especially for second semester when I was trying to take calculus. But you know, my perm never got accepted, and calculus is required. Well, I took calc 1 this semester, like first semester, and then I need calc 2 for my major, but there were no calc 2 sections available. And I was like, I don't want to take like a semester between taking calc 1 and calc 2. So that was very annoying. But yeah, I ended up doing that, and then I took intro classes for most things, and then I'm taking one class towards a major or minor this semester, which is intersectional feminist theory. And so that's like my one elective class. The rest are like required for like pre-med track kind of thing.
Look at you guys getting your GEs done. Yes. Are you guys almost done with your GEs? Well, I know Alyssa is. Alyssa, I see you nodding in the corner.
It's the only thing I've got right now because I'm still trying to figure everything out. So that's the only flex I have. I can almost be done with it.
Oh, how many G's do you have left?
I think after spring semester is over, I'll only have fine arts to do and core, technically, because core is like 3 semesters.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say that I don't have much GEs left, but compared to you, maybe
No,
what do
you
you have?
just gotta like find classes that fulfill multiple because I think that you can do that.
Oh,
But
double counting.
I was gonna take an English class with Susan, and I permed. I permed into it because I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna get into any of the classes I want to. I permed into it, and I like begged the professor over email, and I got accepted. And then I ended up getting accepted into intersectional feminist theory, so I dropped the class, and I felt so bad.
what English
I
class
begged
was it?
her. Literature of the supernatural.
Yeah,
Ooh, that sounds
I
interesting.
know, but
I signed up for it. It's a Pitzer class, and it's English writing. It's an English writing class, and I took it because I heard about it from one of my Chem Lab group members, and I thought it was fun. It was cool because it's about reading stories about ghosts, I think, and like the supernatural, um, which I've never really taken a class for. And also, I know that, going back to scheduling about like what classes you wanted to take, um, I think that for me, since both Izzy and I, like she said, we're both on like pre health. So then for pre health, for pre med or pre vet, they require 2 semesters of English or literature writing courses. So, and since core, even though core is technically a writing class, it doesn't fulfill it. I needed to find 2 other classes that I could take to fulfill this, and that fulfilled it. So I ended up taking it, and I believe it also fulfills your Scripps letters GE. For scheduling, I just definitely like followed the pre-health advisor, what they recommended for me.
That's awesome. The advisors have been super helpful. Like, they just get you through everything you need.
Yeah, and they have like they sort of recommend you like the courses for like the STEM majors. So then they would require like the general Chem 14, and then it just goes on to Chem 15, and then bio goes on. So they sort of just give you these classes you can take, and they sort of just give you an idea of what your schedule would look like. So yeah. that was super helpful.
Just wondering, like, when you guys were submitting your PERMs for different classes, what are the different strategies that you kind of use to write them? Because I know that that was a huge part that was really confusing for me at first, but then I know that at the end of core 1 we had a bunch of people in our class kind of saying what strategies they use, which was really interesting. So just curious what you guys did for that.
Well, like for the perm, when you submit one, it gives you the option to write something like on the portal. But I'm not gonna lie, for most of those, I left it empty and I just emailed the professor. And some of them, I didn't even email the professor. I just kind of was like, okay, which is not a good thing, but it's mostly because they weren't at the top of my list. And then I felt guilty. I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to hurt their feelings? But I don't think professors' feelings are going to be hurt if you don't write them like a long essay on why you want to be in their class. But if you really, really do want to be in the class, write them a long thing and like be specific. I don't know if that helped me, but it felt good. Yeah.
No, yeah, I think emailing is like super important because it shows like your personal interests, like just besides the portal, because everyone submits like perm requests through the portal. So then what I would do is at first, I did send a lot of perm requests for second semester because I had a lot of freedom in like what courses I could take for my electives. So then I had a wide option. So I decided to perm for multiple classes. If even if they allowed it. Um, so then I would say my name and why I'm interested in that class and if it fulfills a requirement or not. And then if I really needed that class or really wanted to be in the class, I would then do a follow-up email with the professor and tell him or her. I would be like, hi, my name is Susan. I'm super interested to be in your class and why that course is like interesting to me. And I would also talk about schedule conflicts if there were multiple sections of that same class. And hopefully they respond back. But most of the time they do by saying either, no or yes. But I think definitely emailing them shows like your like further interest. So I think that makes you stand out among like all the other perm requests.
Yeah, totally. I've heard the same thing. Like, if you the follow-up email is really important. The one thing my advisor told me was in the request and whatever you're writing to the professor, never include like or never say like I just like you. I would like to have you as professor to talk about the class itself. I think that was the biggest thing that he mentioned to me. Um, but yeah, I think you guys covered everything. How about you, Alyssa? Did you have anything that worked for you?
I have as my academic advisor, Professor Practice, and I think it was very helpful because I was trying to figure out how to get into an English class because I really, really wanted to take an English class, but they were all full. So she just talked about I actually did end up writing a small message in like the box provided for the perm thing on the portal. It was usually really short, just like really straight to the point, depending on if it was something I was interested in majoring in or if it did fulfill a requirement or anything like that. And then I'd send an email after being like, hey, I didn't have like enough space. I wanted to show added interest and stuff. And I found that like, I think Susan, you said this too, that like professors do usually email you back and they're pretty nice about it, I would say. I do think though that at the end of trying to apply for or trying to submit a lot of perms for classes at the end of this fall semester when I was trying to apply for spring semester classes, that was a little bit stressful. So my perms got like kind of worse as time went on, where I was almost literally begging a professor to like be let into their class because I was like, nothing else works with my schedule. I'm serious. But then, you know, core 2, apparently you're not like, you basically can't choose for core 2, which isn't, I don't find that a huge problem, but I do think it would have been nice if someone told me that basically for core 2 it didn't matter if you submitted perms because they couldn't let you in anyways. So that was a time consumer for me. I don't know if you guys experienced that, but that was a little frustrating.
I want to talk a little bit about my experience with trying to get into calculus, just because this made me really mad. Um,
Yes,
Susan,
Izzy, go.
Susan saw most of this because we would be on Zoom like studying for chem, and I'd be so mad. And I was like considering like doing some witchcraft to get what I wanted, but then I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. That's like a little dangerous. So I didn't do that. But so I emailed this professor like 4 times, and I asked somebody who was in his class to email him. Um, wait, I don't think she ever emailed him, but she was like, I can ask him to see if he's accepting more people. I don't know if she ever did that, and that, I mean, I don't really care if she did or didn't, but I emailed him like every day for 4 days, and he never responded. And I think I was emailing the wrong email, like
Who
his
was it?
emails, which is hard because I don't know what the other email is, and when I go on like to the staff thing for like scripts, it has one email, and so
Is this
it's
Professor Swift?
yes.
Yeah.
He works at Cal Poly Pomona, so he does have a second email. He doesn't check his scripts one as much.
Yeah.
Darn it! I wish I could have like given you his email during that, but sorry.
No, it's
Continue.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I posted something about it on the Facebook page I was talking about, like the 5C or the scripts current students. And if you do not get accepted for a class, someone said that you can go to the class even if you don't have the class on your list or like you're not registered, and stay and go and be like, Professor, please let me in. And there's a chance that they will let you in. So there's a chance that I will be attending the class even though I'm not registered, just to hopefully get in. Also, that means I would be taking 5 classes and 2 labs, which might be too much. So low key, I might just not try and just end up taking it next semester or over the summer if that's possible.
Yeah. I know that they do actually allow you to. If we were in person, most people would actually just straight up go to the first day of class, and there would just be more people than the seats they originally had in mind for. But with like remote and online learning, someone would just ask for a Zoom link, and you would just show up in the Zoom meeting and participate or show your interest. And hopefully, if there's more spots at that time, then they will let you in. But I feel like most of the time it's really difficult if there's so many people asking for interest for that one particular professor. Um, but I feel like for the perm requests for wanting a particular professor for your class that you want to get, I think trying to perm as early as possible by even emailing them a couple of weeks before the actual registration date is super can be super helpful. I personally haven't tried that yet, but I think you can. I don't think they'll be mad at you if you email them before. Maybe they'll like it because they can see it beforehand and it won't be like a rush of emails with like a lot of students emailing. Um, but you can maybe ask. And I feel like just looking at the catalog a little earlier, even though it's really stressful because you have, your regular semester classes to go to and homework, but you also have to stare at the catalog and see what classes you want to take for next semester is like super stressful. But I think that just helps you plan out everything, and you can maybe email them if you need to, and also having like a backup list of if that professor doesn't respond, then like make sure it matches up with the rest of your schedule. I feel like that's super helpful. But I also found that like talking to upperclassmen, um, like even through the current college Facebook group, they're like super helpful and they always tell you like really good tips. And they're all really nice though. They just like respond right away, which is like super comforting.
That Facebook page has become so useful, especially when we're not in person. You can't go ask people that you know in person. Super nice. And Susan, you were also telling us about your experience signing up for classes for the spring. Would you like to share with us like your schedule for making sure you got everything you wanted, or you got at least some of the things you wanted?
No, yeah, no, actually I know I talked about my first semester where I couldn't get into the psychology class that I wanted to. So then for second semester, I was like super determined to get all my first choices or like my top choice classes. So I looked up the catalog before and I saw like the professors and then the dates and each course, and then I would put that in my schedule. Um, through like the course planner, the hyperschedule.io or Coursicle. That's super helpful for planning out your time. Um, and then I would see whether or not like you can perm or not. So then what I did was, I know for especially for this one particular bio section um, that I wanted to get into, I knew that it was gonna be super tough. So I had like a late registration time. So what I did was I actually like wrote down my perm request in like a separate notes, just like and like saved it, and then I would check during like the senior, junior, and sophomore registration days because they're before freshmen. I would look at how many seats are taken up each time. And then once I see that it's almost full, I would sort of check like an hour or like maybe like if it gets closer, like 30 minutes, 10 minutes. And I would just constantly stare at the portal and like refresh it. Um, which is very stressful, but it was rewarding at the end. And then right when the class is full, I would just write my perm request and then try my best to do like a follow-up email right after to show my interest. But I feel like also just being one of the first ones to perm, they most likely allow you, like accept you, unless it was core, which is like a different experience. But most of the other sections, they do give you like most of the priority, like top choices if you're one of the first ones to perm. But in the end, I was able to get all the classes that I wanted, but it was still really like stressful staring at the portal all day. But yeah, I think just like planning ahead is like was super helpful for me.
We love planning. I think it's honestly the best.
It
At least
is.
for me.
For me too. I think those online platforms where you can kind of visualize what you want your schedule to look like is really helpful. I ended up doing most of my planning on paper because I did not know about like
Alyssa.
online ones. Yeah, I wasn't really in the loop, but it's okay because I had like a little stack of papers of me like trying to plan out all of my classes because I had such a late registration time, but it all worked out, so it's okay. Just yes, planning is very important.
My sister's in college, so she was like telling me what to do. She goes to a different school, and her registration process is like so much better. You pick out which classes you want, like you just make a list, like your top 10, and then the people at the school like give you your classes for you, like figure out the schedule for you, which is so nice because I had to make like 50 like mock schedules and like I'm like, this is my backup plan if I don't get this. I literally was like crying. And it was during finals week or like right before finals. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Something was going on and I was stressed. I didn't even cry about finals. I cried about scheduling. I was like, I can't do this.
Registration and the timing for registration just is not good. Like, why does that have to be right before finals?
No, yeah, I know some people who had the registration times during class time for them. So then I don't know what they did. Maybe they were registering during class.
I mean, I guess that's one of the benefits of having online classes is that you can register during class and the professors won't be like, what are you doing on your computer in the middle of our discussion? All right. Well, we don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you guys for joining us. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.